if you go and search dating app red flags, almost every result is for women. How to spot a man who's hiding a wife or girlfriend. The guy love bombing you. The guy who only wants one thing. Now, try to find the version for men. There's less videos out there. And it's not because men don't get played on dating apps, don't get screwed over in dating apps. They actually do, constantly. But unfortunately, there's not much talk about it. So today, I'm going to talk about it. Profile red flags, messaging red flags, and first date red flags. The ones you're currently overlooking because nobody taught you to look for them. Hi, I'm Mariana, dating and relationship coach, and today it is your turn to get the red flag list as men. Let's get into it. Dating apps reward who's able to screen faster. And women have been handing each other screening checklists for years, right? We know what to look out for. We know all the things because we constantly talk about it. And unfortunately, what I've noticed is men have been handed almost nothing when it comes to this. And mostly get told to just be grateful that they got a match. So what I want to start with is the profile red flags. A huge red flag is a bio that is entirely made of requirements, but nothing about who she actually is. And although it is good to have standards and for the woman to state those so you know, hey, I fit the bill or not, it can also tell you that she's probably going to just demand stuff and require for you to have every single point on that checklist. And guess what? Humans are not checklists. We all have our faults. We are not 10 out of 10 in every aspect of our lives. And so when a woman is just focused on that checklist, on getting what she wants instead of looking at the person as a whole, that can be a red flag. Oh, my lights changed. One second. Another one is the photos, right? And this is where it's going to be so different for every single man out there, right? So ask yourself, how would you like your partner to be? What is your ideal partner? And does it match with the photos, if that makes sense? So a lot of the times men get carried away because a woman is truly attractive. But maybe you notice that every single photo is she's out at the club, which there's nothing wrong with that, right? Every person can lead their life the way they want to. But if you know that is going to be a problem for you because you don't like going out, take a look at those photos, not to judge the person, but for you to say, does this fit my lifestyle? Will she fit into my world and will I fit into hers? And that's not to say, oh, just because she has a photo of her going out, that's like, okay, I'm not going to swipe right. Is it right? Left? I've been out of the dating game for too long. I'm married. Regardless, you know what I mean. So it's those things, and that's why it's so important for you to look at, okay, what do I want my partner to be like? And not that you have to have this particular checklist. That's also not healthy either. But what is most important to you, right? For me, it was I didn't want a man who went out all the time, who drank all the time. I met my husband on a dating app, and I was always very picky about the photos, not in a judgmental way, but in a let me just take a closer look. And it was always very wholesome photos that called to me, right? And I said, okay, this could be a potential partner. So again, looking at the photos, if you enjoy going out and being the life of the party, maybe somebody who has a photo in her bedroom reading books or something like that won't be a fit for you. So again, it's about your own red flag. What would be a red flag for you when it comes to the photos that she shows? Next, I want to talk about the messaging red flags. Okay, you matched. What's next? You get into the chat, we start talking. I think a huge red flag is one-sided curiosity. And what I mean by that is the talking feels very much like an intense job interview. And although dating is trying to get to know somebody, notice if it feels like a financial screen test. But asking questions, there's nothing wrong with that. But if it's very much, what car do you drive? How much money do you make? All these questions that allude to the fact that she's just seeing dollar signs, right? That's something to maybe look out for. Next is long silences. And then maybe sudden re-engagement when she feels that you're about to lose interest, right? She knows that you're there messaging her and she wants to keep you interested in her. But the moment that maybe you kind of pull away, if you notice that she starts messaging back, that might be a sign of someone trying to play a game with you. trying to build a roster, if you will. If she is busy, she'll communicate that, right? And so it really tells you too about someone's communication style. What do you want from somebody when it comes to communication style? That is also another way to say, actually, this is a red flag for me. And what I really want to talk about is when it comes to red flags, I think also many people will have different red flags of their own because, for example, as I was mentioning earlier, maybe somebody asking about what you do and what car you drive might not bother you because maybe you want to show off your money, right? And so then, okay, that's not a red flag for you. But if you don't want a woman who's just interested in you for your money, that will be a red flag for you. So what I really want you to understand is, what do you want your partner to be like? Asking yourself the question, what do I want them to value? What do I want their character to be like? So again, when I talk about these red flags, I'm just trying to get you to understand on what things you can look out for by checking in with yourself and asking yourself, well, what would be a red flag for me? Now, moving on to first date red flags. This can be, I think, controversial, and this can be different for everybody. On the first date, she will order the most expensive thing on the menu without asking if you're comfortable with that. Another one, which I think is obviously kind of a clear red flag, but she's cold or dismissive towards the waiters. When somebody is mean to somebody else but nice to you, are they really a nice person? That's something to think about. Another important one is they bring up their ex unprompted, specifically to criticize, and it can be a clue that maybe she's not emotionally ready. And for you to ask yourself, do you want to take a step further with this person if you know they might have their heart still somewhere else or anger somewhere else, or they might still need to do more healing work? Because someone bashing their ex or talking about their ex repeatedly on a first date, that tells you something. So here is what actually healthy interest looks like. Questions that go both directions. It's not just you trying to get to know her and she not even asking a single question about you. It's a flow. It's a back and forth thing. There's curiosity about not just what you earn and your assets and all of that, but about who you are, about your friends, about what brings you joy. There is also willingness to make the effort. I think as women, as I've talked about in other videos before, they sometimes tend as women, right? We hear a lot of this messaging of you are the queen, the man should chase you, the man should do all these things because they are the man. They should make you feminine and soft and take care of you. And although there's some importance to that, that doesn't mean that the woman can't also put in effort. So when you see a woman putting an effort into dating you, into trying to get to know you, that is healthy. A woman who just wants you to do things for her, to fulfill certain things in her life, that won't be healthy. So now that we talked about this does not mean that you have to treat each match as a suspect. For example, asking about your job is completely normal. Don't think that she's after your wallet if she asks about what you do. That is a completely normal question to ask somebody. It's a real part of getting to know somebody, especially in the early stages. The difference is, though, whether or not that's the only thing she's curious about. So listen to other questions that she asks. Is it about your lifestyle, about how much money you earn? Does it stay in that realm, or is it about you as well, right? So really it is about looking at the whole thing holistically and just observing. One data point doesn't tell you everything, but looking at patterns as a whole and seeing how she operates, really, really being observant based on what's important to you and what you value in a partner, that will tell you everything. If the profile, if the messages, if the first date all show a pattern that doesn't sit right with you, then believe it and cut that off and move on to the next. So I really want to get this through your head. There is not going to be specific red flags as a blanket statement for everybody. You have your own red flags that you need to look out for. But before that, you have to sit down and ask yourself, what do I want? And you go from there. There has to be clarity before you start dating. Again, I am always here to help, to make videos. Feel free to book a call, link in the description. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.